So let's move the conversation to Oscar. Okay, so you look at Oscar and you look at Akka, and you joined 3 to 4 years ago. Okay, so you long enough to know how things are shaping up for Oscar.
Right.
It's certainly achieved scale. It's uniquely successful in the market. Others have not come close to replicating the Oscar model. So it is, if you were to say there's a winner in this space, it's clearly Oscar in the Akka market.
Mm-hmm.
What's your vision as you join Oscar? Where do you want to take the business from 2023 onwards?
Josh and I was, at the time, I was co-CEO of Bridgewater Associates, Ray Dalio's company, working with Ray on his transition. And I get a call from Josh and Mario saying, would you join our board? I said, no, I don't like boards. They're incredibly frustrating to me. I want to be an active operator. And so we met every so often and would talk about topics of interest about the company. And then one day, Mario looks at me and says, could you meet for an hour a week? And so we started meeting for an hour a week. They would pick the topic, I would suggest some, and we would do deep dives. And so I learned a lot about the business model that they're operating. Up until that point, they had lost that $1.8 billion. They had never made a penny. So they consumed all their capital and they were struggling on cash. And so they said, would you run the company? And as a result of spending time with them, I said, there are a lot of really cool things going on here. I think this would be fun, because I didn't get it done with the CVS Aetna deal, which we brought to CVS, by the way. It wasn't the other way around. We thought we had a solution. It was just too big, too massive, too entrenched to change. And so I said, sure. And so they retired their founders' shares, gave the shares to me, and said, fix the company. And at the time we had started talking about that, it was $2.51 a share. And the company was, struggling, and it was at about 750,000 lives. Since then, we've grown.
You generate a profit. So
Yep.
Mission accomplished 2024.
Right. And Josh and Mario remind me that they gave me a gift, which was $1.8 billion of operating loss carryforwards, which come in helpful in generating a profit. So I spent the first 10 weeks and this goes back to our first question. I spent the first 10 weeks sitting with each team, doing a deep dive on every part of the business. How do we do this? Why do we do it this way? What would you do better? What do we do really well? And about week 10, Josh calls me and says, I hear you're in meetings asking questions. When's something going to happen? I said, don't worry. If I would have walked in here, Josh, I've screwed up everything this company has screwed up at least twice myself in my career. And I've had to fix them. And if I had walked in and said, you do this and you do this and you do this, they would have looked at me and said, who the hell are you? And why are you here? So instead, I got to know the people, because there are the people that I need to move to get these things done. I can't do it myself. I've tried that earlier in my career. It never works. And so we started moving on it. And, the first pillar of our strategy was run a really good insurance company, because there was just so many things like fraud, waste, and abuse, and disputed claims and everything that were cash laying around. And what I thought was low-hanging fruit was really watermelons rolling around on the floor. All we had to do is pick them up. And that put us on a trajectory to get the company in great shape. And we got to strategy far sooner than I thought we would, because there was so much opportunity in just running the company right, doing the right things.